Welcome back to Sentai Potential, the series where I take a look at unadapted seasons of Super Sentai and look at the possibilities for adapting them into Power Rangers. Today, I'm looking at the aesthetics, source footage, and possible toy sales of the latest season, Mashin Sentai Kiramager, a very simplistic but fun season of Sentai that I think has a lot of fun ideas for an adaptation. If you want to hear my full thoughts on the season, including spoilers, I recently made a review going over it in extreme detail, and I've also made a review on episode 1 of its successor, Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. If you're interested in those videos or more Super Sentai content, you might as well subscribe to this channel. Help me get closer to 20,000 subscribers and the release of the Tokusatsu Ideas 3 video. But without further ado, let's Kirame go! Welcome to another exciting edition of thomasjujube talks about Kiramager's simplicity, but this time about the aesthetics, because the ranger suits in this season are very simplistic, but it allows for some really great subtle detailing to shine through. Shine, get it? Because Kiramager shiny. Starting with the main ranger suits, which upon first glance are kind of just standard ranger suits, boots, gloves, generic buckles, and helmets representing the individual motifs, the machine in this case, are all present and aren't really super distinct in comparison to like the overall franchise for Power Rangers, at least, since, you know, that's what we're looking at here. We've had vehicle faces before, and such a generic buckle on the body makes the whole body feel pretty plain and generic as well, with the exception of the sash. A sash design by itself is pretty unique, but then it's got the added bonus of being a road for the Kiramagers with ground vehicle machine, and it's a sky trail for those with aerial machine. This idea is also present on their helmets. The Land Trio helmets have this 3-part segmentation on the top of their helmets, pretty similar headlights and windows on the side of their heads, while the Sky Duo only has like a big single segment, different headlights, and fins kind of on the side. Usually there aren't any major differences between the designs of the core marketed 5 Rangers as this one team, so adding a visible difference between the Rangers with land vehicles and sky vehicles is a really cool feature and adds to the identity of these suits. In my opinion though, the most important detail of these suits would actually be their sparkliness. Coated on the helmet, shoulder pads, and kind of the chest and arms is this really unique crystalline detailing. This is a super unique effect that isn't really present on any other Sentai suits, and it breaks up the sort of generic nature of the suits in a huge way. Instead of shoulder pads, you've got shiny shoulder pads. Instead of blocks of color on the helmets, you've got blocks of sparkles. Instead of plain arms, you've got sparkly arms. There's also a cute little crystal to mimic a vehicle going across the sashes. Like most 6 Rangers, Kirame Silver obviously brings in a new color scheme, but his main important feature is he adds a new twist to those unique Kiramager features. The sash has a different color scheme, the sparkly arms have a new distinct coloration, the crystals on the helmet now protrude out like a drill, and they form goggles. The Go Kiramagers continue this sparkly crystal idea by having them form the centerpieces of the armor, both literally and figuratively. Like most of the Kiramager suits, this upgrade is pretty simple. It's literally just a big blocky piece of armor, but I think it's one of the best team power-ups. The design works best when the entire team is together because it has the gimmick of this phoenix and its flowing wings thanks to the different designs. For an adaptation, these details would be super unique for Power Rangers suits. The overall designs would attract a younger audience because of their simplicity, and older fans could find enjoyment in the unique crystal and vehicle details. Or hey, maybe kids will be more attracted to the details and older fans to the simplicity. I don't make the rules. Either way, the crystalline detailing is really the shining star of the Kiramager suits. It gives them a unique identity, looks cool, and also connects to the robots. Since this set of mecha doesn't combine with each other and brings down playability in toys and in fights, they make up for that by sporting some pretty unique designs in comparison to each other. While Kiramazing is visually a pretty standard main Megazord, it has the unique feature of being a combination between smaller components which have different black and white color schemes that unite in one robot. What makes it really distinct and connects it to all the other robots in the season is the return of the crystalline detailing screen, now with lights. Just like on the Kiramager suits, we've got a pretty unique shiny and sparkly material all over the Megazords, which separates it from other robots in other seasons, looks cool in fight scenes, and then just looks beautiful when it's lit up. Look at that! Great Full Phoenix is pretty similar to Kiramazing in that its primary attraction is the beautiful sparkles and lights, but it's displayed mostly on the chest so that it's got a bit of a different flavor both as the final mecha and because Oradin is just completely made out of the sparkle stuff. Gigant Driller is where the formula starts getting mixed up. The machine part, aka the main body, features a significantly smaller amount of the sparkly material and is a separate piece, of course, from the actual Kirame stone, the head, where all the sparkles are focused. Then we have my personal favorite robots in the season, the King Express duo. I love the dynamic of these two mirrored mechas that form variations of the same robot thanks to a shared core component. It's just a really cool idea and the execution is even cooler. King Express Joki has a light dark motif that is nicely shown with the lack of lights, but it still uses the sparkly material to fit within the aesthetics. On the flip side, King Express Zabune is a more unified mecha and now fits with the other hero ones because now it uses lights. And since the Zabune form is kind of the primary form of King Express, the leftover component gets to become its own mini robot. Smog Joki, everyone's favorite badass big purple dinosaur. Due to the lack of lights and the colors, of course, Joki is very clearly an evil mecha, but still very clearly a Kiramager mecha, and it makes the fights and interactions with Express and Zabune a very cool addition to the Kiramager visuals. Like the Ranger suits, the Kiramager robots would be great for an adaptation because of all these unique features. Thanks to the sparkly crystals, all of the suits in this season, robots and Rangers alike, are very distinct in terms of overall Sentai aesthetics and would be an excellent addition to Power Rangers. There are a lot of shared ideas compared to other shows, but the crystals are so unique that everything still stands on its own and would be perfect as Power Ranger designs that fit right into the style of the Power Rangers brand, but also bring something new and unique to the table that hasn't quite been seen before. When trying to adapt Kiramager to Power Rangers, typically I see an attempt to make some sort of connection to Power Rangers Zeo because, well, crystals. That's a cool idea. This would be interesting since I think the Zeo crystals were an original Power Rangers creation, but as usual, I don't like to connect my whole idea to a past Power Ranger season, so it's not the basis of my idea, but I do have an idea and I'll get to my super duper Power Rangers lore in a second. So, like always, I'm changing the setup of the season, especially since episode 1 won't have any sort of episode 0 behind it. The show starts with the 4 Kiramagers defending from the first Yodon invasion, the weird faucet monster, and the Red Ranger is the last member to be recruited, and he creates the mecha, and the day is saved. Woo! The character composition is mainly where things are getting changed up. Red, yellow, and green can stay the same, but blue and pink could also just stay as an actor and a doctor, but they're going to mainly replace Mabushina, and they're going to be 2 Crystallians that arrived on Earth and recruited the other 3 Rangers. I don't really care what their relationship is. They could be brother and sister, just teammates, dating. They could also have human disguises. All that matters is that they're Crystallian. To establish our characters with the lack of an episode 0, I would borrow from the show Lost and make flashbacks a big part of the show. A Ranger focus episode would every so often flash back to that Ranger's past, giving us a chance to see how they may have changed since becoming a Kiramager or arriving on Earth, and connecting on some deeper level to the main plot of the episode. This will have some bigger consequences later on, but for now it shows the audience how and why green and yellow were recruited, and gives very important backstory on blue and pink. If anyone's gonna say this is out of place with the Kiramager story, 1, this flashback thing is how I connect to Power Rangers lore, and 2, Kiramager's aesthetics are about shining. Flashing is a synonym for shining, and flashback. Genius. Thank you. I know. Anyways, the blue and pink flashback story time. Obviously, these 2 were already Kiramagers on Crystallia and part of a larger 5-person Crystallian team. They served as King Oradin's elite guard to defend the planet's Kira Full Stone, one big stone that, in addition to being one of the most powerful items in the universe, powers the Kiramagers, their equipment, and the entire planet. When Jotunheim invaded, they easily overran the planet by somehow possessing part of the Kira Stone's power as Smog Joki, and during the invasion, 3 of the 5 Rangers disappeared in the fight because Power Rangers. In a desperate attempt to stop the Kira Stone from falling into the wrong hands, King Oridon launched it into the universe and had Pink and Blue follow and guard it. The last memory these 2 Crystallians have is Jotunheim taking over the dying planet. When the Kiramagers wake up, they've just landed on semi-modern day Earth, maybe in like the 1900s, and they basically create Carrot with Mr. PPAP and have been searching Earth for the Kira Stone for some time now, but have only discovered parts of it, which are called Kirame Stones. When Jotunheim discovers the Kira Stone's energy, Blue and Pink have to recruit the other Rangers, and then, episode 1 happens. Kirame Red's power is more mysterious because not only is he controlling the Kirame Stones, but he's also creating life. If we keep the stones sentient, it doesn't really matter for the story, but it could be fun. Yeah, that's it. The other Zords are other Kirame Stone remnants that Kirame Red gives life, and how exactly these mini stones are connected to the Kira Stone is a mystery for a decent part of the season. Garza and Smog Joki add to this mystery when they arrive, since he actually has a Kirame Stone, which should have been a new thing on Earth. We get to learn a bit more about Garza when Kirame Silver arrives. He's a lot like he was in the original show, hello everyone, I'm here to flirt with your Pink Ranger for 1 episode and then go on an adventure and stuff, but Garza recognizes him, and backstory time part 2. Garza and Kirame Silver were both members of an older Kiramager team on Crystalia generations before the ones Blue and Pink were part of. Garza was drawn to the Kira Stone and one day attempted to take its power, but he was stopped by Silver, causing a duel between the two that had a catastrophic ending. Garza merely got a fraction of the Kira Stone's power and the ability to control it, which became Smog Joki, but now he's like super evil and he requires super duper badass armor to survive, like Darth Vader, I guess. He joined forces with Jotunheim in order to continue his mission of getting the Kira Stone's power, and obviously he was part of the invasion on Crystalia that led to Blue and Pink crash landing on Earth. Kirame Silver was turned from a Crystallian into a living Kirame Stone, and he left Crystalia in shame, becoming an adventurer, and he eventually found his way to Earth to get revenge on Garza. He discovered the new Kirame Stones, and he used it to create his Kirame Silver gear, and that's partly my connection to the Power Rangers lore, but I'll get to that in a second. When Silver learns to accept his new nature as a Kirame Stone, he joins the team, and he becomes Gigant Driller, and as an adventurer, he helps with the eventual discovery of the Kira Stone, which has King Oridon's mind in it. Oridon transferred his mind into the stone as he sent it away from Crystalia, and it landed on Earth millions of years before Pink and Blue arrived. Space, time stuff, or whatever. Upon arrival, Oridon's consciousness within the stone attempted to spread out the power in case Jotunheim came after it again, and it would be much harder to get the full power of the Kira Stone, which resulted in its essence being split into the Kirame Stones, in addition to the Kanama Stones, which are like the purest versions of the stone's power. If all 4 of them are gathered, the Kira Stone can be restored and returned to its true state, which can in turn then be used to restore Crystalia. So now, it's a hunt for the 4 Kanama Stones. Since the Kira Stone has been on Earth for so long, Red's powers basically came from living in close proximity to it. Maybe it's been like under his house or school, and during episode 1, he managed to tap into the powers with his artistry, without the drawbacks that Garza had, because unlike desiring the stone's powers for self-ambition, Juru wanted to use it to help people, and he obviously had that creative outlet to do so. So the empty Kira Stone becomes Mashin Oridon, obviously with Oridon's mind inside of it, and Mashin Hakubu will be an artificial carrot created Kirame Stone that they've been developing over the course of the season, which would explain why Mr. PPAP becomes its partner as Kirame Gold. Please, come on, that would be cool as hell. At least let it appear for a little bit. Earlier in the season, after Silver arrived, Garza began to corrupt Kirame Stones found on Earth and turned them into the Mon Stones. And after they were defeated, he would harvest their energy until he created the Jaku Mon Stone. He could use it to possess Kirame Silver and create the Dark Kirame Changer. at the end of it, Garza now has this dark Kirame changer to funnel in more dark energy. To do so, he gave it to the Emperor, who would then pass it on to Yodona and Shadon since they're his minions. In the finale, Garza reclaims the dark Kirame changer, now powered up thanks to the Emperor using it over the course of the season, and he now becomes Lord Garza and captures the Kiraful Stone for Jotunheim. Our final battle basically is the other Kiramagers staying behind on Earth to battle Emperor Yodon, while Kirame Red follow Garza back to Crystalia to stop him from attempting to use the Kiraful Stone. And basically these two final battles are meant to be like the two separate finales of the show, but if we want, we can have Kirame Red make his way to Crystalia after defeating Garza and reclaiming Smog Joki, but it doesn't have to happen. Basically, everyone's defeated. Yay! As the Kiraful Stone, King Oridon sacrifices himself by merging with the 4 Kanama stones to restore Crystalia. Kirame Silver becomes the new king of Crystalia, and Pink and Blue form a new team of Kiramagers as the other 3 head back to Earth. As always, anything I haven't explicitly mentioned from the original season is staying the same. Oh, okay, so the way I would connect this to the Power Rangers lore is using the Beyond the Grid arc from the Boom Studios comics. In case you haven't read that arc explores a dimension with a planet called the Splintered Star, which is made entirely out of Zeo crystals, and the Solar Ranger team of Power Rangers is made to protect the planet. In my adaptation, I see Crystalia and the Kiramagers as versions of the Splintered Star and the Solar Rangers millions of years in the future. This would be shown with every new version of the Kiramager team getting a new armor setup. The original blue and pink team, their whole team has the sky trails on the sash, whereas those who became Rangers on Earth have the road, including Kirame Silver because his new armor set was made with the Kirame stones on Earth. In the flashback fight with Garza, he would obviously be in a different suit, and Garza would obviously have a Ranger suit as well, and their Kiramager equipment would basically look just like the Solar Rangers. You know, it's not really meant to be like, look, these are Solar Rangers, this is the Splintered Star, but the intent is you see these two as purple and silver Solar Rangers, and you connect the dots from there. This whole thing is like Solar Ranger Part 2, I guess. And since the Kiramagers are an evolution of the Solar Rangers that both use Zeo Crystal powers, there's your connection to Power Rangers Zeo and the Zeo Crystal stuff. As always, let me know your ideas below. Money? Yes, money! Let's take a look at the potential sales for a Kiramager adaptation and the money. Starting with the 3 morphers at $30. For the weapon $30 price point, we have a sword, a gun, an arrow, and a jackhammer. Then a normal hammer in the $12 category. Figures. Obviously the main Rangers are in the standard 6-inch and 12-inch sales, and then the Go Kiramagers get figures, and that's it for Ranger figures. Usually I just throw in 4 villain figures, but since there isn't a lot of figures here, I'm just gonna throw in 2 extras for the hell of it. Megazords. Finally, we're back to 4 Megazords appearing within the season, each at a $50 price point. Since King Express debuted in the Joki form first, that's the main Megazord set, while Zabun is sold as a separate $15 Zord. The other Zords are $15 too, but they're so small that it feels unfair to make them $15 each, like they're just weapons. So if we include Machine Maka, since that was in the show, thankfully there's an even amount of the auxiliary swords, so they can all be paired up to be $15 packs. The total projected sales for Kiramager is $702. Compared to the other seasons, that's not bad at all. Ignoring the reuse soldier and Kyuranger sales, which are just insane, this either beats out or matches up with all the other seasons I've gone over, which is obviously very important for a show like this, but what's even better is there's room to grow from here. You could sell the other versions of the Go Kiramagers when their crystals change position, some of the other villains, maybe even the Red Machine Shovelo because it was from the movie, and definitely Kirame Gold. Please sell Kirame Gold. Then of course there's different repaints or even brand new toy stuff you can make, Kirame King into existence. There's always a lot of opportunities to grow and expand the potential toy sales when adapting a show, and that's why I don't include every possible thing that could be made. I have no idea what could actually happen, let alone being adapted. So I just include what's really most likely to be included as the potential toy sales of the adaptation, not its total complete toy sales. Kiramager would make a good Power Rangers adaptation. I don't know what else to say here that I've never said before. The suits are cool, and have some nice detailing that would fit in with Power Rangers but still feel unique. There's a lot of unique ideas in the original show that could be utilized to tell a new story. Possible toy sales aren't as bad as you'd think with a gimmick-less season, and if anything, it's a positive here because it leaves the door open for some interesting play features or extra items to sell. Yeah, I think it would be a cool adaptation in my opinion. Next year, I will obviously take a look at Zenkaiger on Sentai Potential after the finale, but in the next episode, I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit differently by taking a look at Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. But thomasjujube Shinkenger has already been adapted! Yes, I know. That is why this is a special episode of Sentai Potential, okay? For now, if you want to hear my Super Sentai thoughts, I've got those recent Zenkaiger and Kiramager reviews in addition to some upcoming ranking videos, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos, and I hope to see you next time.